want more. Crying babies looking for food. Starvation, the recipe, people subdued. When the people you trust got it in for you. Deceit is the word of the day and every clue. Don't let it go. It's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets with the people in the slums and the homeless bums with degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man, the one that brought you to reality. See, they don't want you to know about the black sheep, leaving 7 roads to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say a death old? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct, and I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink, but I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on the call and up and we on the break. All Congress gonna do is waste paper and ink. Vote or die, you voted and you'll die. You can have it both ways, can't say it's a lie. You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand war, it's the same old song. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. War, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. Like a lotus coming out of the mud with colors, I create envy in those with power but jealous. I unify the poor with my song, the hell with the others. Descended the way they treat indigenous brothers. Cause I understand we link forever. They try to hate us even though that we keep it together. I'm not talking about controlling the air or the weather. I'm talking about maintaining the truth, the high endeavor. A rebel drops bombs in the midst of trouble. The free world counterattack and now there's double. But nature gets the shit in the way to settle. If you stop the machines for a minute you might hear, but they won't cause the TV's whisper in the ear. And capitalism has eyes that don't tear, and they cloud up and get crazy and won't stare. And like an ad, it's hard to get an ass to listen. Living like this is like living in prison. It's hard to keep hope when you're living in prison. The spiritual thoughts, so yes, the mental prison. The outside, yes, it's got to get through. Something's gotta die, so something here can live. Your life is nothing if you got nothing to give. Keeping the spiritual, yes, disguised as religion. Controlling your mind, the mental prison. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning,
you know they want more, but they want to keep you low, so they manifest the war. Yeah, good morning, folks. Good evening, folks. Around the globe, no matter where you are, I'm wishing everybody sensibility to your life, sensibility to your surroundings. I'm wishing you an environment around you that makes sense, that works, right? For the average person, okay? And on top of that, for those that don't have the basics, for those that need a little helping hand from their neighbor, I'm wishing y'all out there the same, sensibility, because most people that need a helping hand, it's not because they did anything wrong. It's because the greedy hoard everything, the greedy and the powerful. The greedy and the powerful, seem to have a lot of influence and a lot of sway in the history of man. And that doesn't matter where you go. I'm not, there's always been freedom fighters fighting for the good of people. And then there's always been people that mask themselves in freedom fighting and plunder and pillage the earth, So big up to those that don't plunder and pillage everything and have enough to share. Think about the average everyday person and just what life can be like in this 2025. But I'm glad people made it through this week. I had a pretty rough week myself. It wasn't rough, but it was busy. I'm always busy, and this week was extra busy. I'll put it to you that way, doubly busy. So I couldn't really keep up with the scheduled stream time, but nonetheless, things have calmed down now. I get a little bit of time to kick back and relax, so I'm back on it now. I'm sure a lot of y'all seen the stream name, and I'm just putting it out there. Yes, I've been calling it ahead of the vloggers. I've been calling what it is what it's going to be. And it always seems to turn out to be ahead of the vloggers. And I'm going to say it again. Trump did that man in. Trump did it. It's been in your face. It's been in plain sight, as Masons say. Hiding in plain sight. The man got done in. And a lot of you could feel it. A lot of you could feel it in your instincts. Maybe you couldn't really, figure out how it could be done. Hey, figuring out how it got done, that got nothing to do with the fact that somebody doing it. That has something to do with whether you can convict them or not. But in plain sight, people with instincts and with a little bit of brains and don't believe in coincidence know that man did Epstein in. And it's coming out slowly. The truth. Trump, and the proof is this. The man's a maniac. He can't keep his mouth shut. It's going to slip out. I mean, you're dealing with the type of person that one day might flat out tell you, I did it because of this. You never know. That's coming because Trump is a sick man. And he's not just sick and elderly. I mean, he's always been sick. He's elderly. He's breaking apart. He's breaking down. But before he broke down, he was already sick. He could just keep it in his mouth longer. He could just keep it back, But sick means he do some shit like that. Sick means he will use his power. How? People are pretty much going to find out the how. And it's probably, in my view, going to be very, 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 very ugly. Very, very ugly. It's going to involve mafia, mixing in with Trump's campaign. It's going to involve espionage. Trump and those pictures, like I've been saying, someone has those pictures, some foreign government, and maybe more than one has images. Jeffrey Epstein had a falling out with Trump. He had a falling out with Trump. But it's not the falling out that everyone said it was in the beginning. See, now it's changed again. Now you're finding out that it's not over property. It wasn't over real estate. And come on, anybody with a brain knows it's not over real estate. As soon as I heard that story, we had a falling out over real estate, I knew that wasn't the real story. I knew that was bullshit. Now you're hearing Trump tell you himself, it's over these girls. It's over. It's over these girls. It's not over the real estate. It's not over the real estate. This guy had a falling out. But what you're going to find out is something else. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, because the most important thing to do is look at the timeline. Trust in the science. Trust in the facts. This man, Jeffrey Epstein, went out when Trump became president and made audio recordings revealing some of Trump's deepest secrets. If you're going to have a falling out with somebody, it would definitely be over that. Okay, something like that. It's not going to be over real estate. If you had a falling out over real estate, well, then you really fell when the man went around and made these audio tapes, okay, about you. And nobody still to this day, the media doesn't want to cover. Major media doesn't want to just put out all the audio tapes. It's not only the audio tapes. The man who recorded Jeffrey Epstein in the interviews, and I don't know, is it 50 hours? Is it 100 hours? It's a hell of a lot of hours. You're not talking about 10 hours of audio interviews with Jeffrey Epstein. The man himself had said long time ago that Epstein showed him these pictures. Why was that not the story? The story should have been the pictures from the beginning, right? The stories really should have. That's the obvious thing. He's showing pictures of little girls sitting on Trump's lap naked. Where is that in CNN? The man didn't just say that yesterday. The man has said that like maybe a year ago. Whenever that Daily Beast thing came out, that was a while ago. But mass media didn't pick up on that. Not legacy media. They didn't pick up on that. Even a lot of the podcasters picked up on it late. Joe Rogan, where the hell are you? And listen to me, y'all. I don't hate anybody. But I'm just telling you, Joe Rogan is not that smart of a cookie. He's not that smart of a cookie. You're just listening to another dude that got average brains but got some money. That's not good when you're trying to figure shit out. That's not good when it comes to leadership. Don't let Joe Rogan lead. If you let Joe Rogan lead your life, no pun intended, you're just letting an average dude think for you. That's not smart. Okay? Joe Rogan is not on the cutting edge when it comes to this shit. Joe Rogan fell for the dumb shit himself. He's the one who had Cash Patel on his platform. He's the one who believed Cash Patel. That means you're dumb. If you believe Cash Patel 1 second of your life, something's wrong with you. That means you can't see stupidity. Okay? That man don't give a damn about you. That man's an opportunist. But in any case, I digress. Back to the information that was already out there and been out there. There's no coincidence. People die around Trump. People die around this man. 1980s, everybody knows the story is Trump been dealing with the Russian mafia. He have 3 casinos. What does mafia like to do? Wash money. Why did this man invite 3 of the heads of each casino to meet him to take a helicopter ride, and then he called it the last minute and says, meet me at the location. I'm not making the helicopter ride. The 3 execs get on the helicopter and the helicopter crash. You tell me. You tell me if you trust a man like that with your life. I damn sure would not. I would be the motherfucker not on the helicopter. Okay? You have to come personally and shoot my ass. You see what I mean? I ain't getting on no damn helicopter. Get out of here. Now, not working for Trump. Now, in any case, fast forward. Now the story's coming out. Everyone knows. People even had experts a year ago when Jeffrey Epstein died during Trump's last administration. This is a couple years, almost coming up on 2 years now. Coming up on, 5 years now? People knew. You knew in your heart something was not right about this man dying in jail. You knew that. Number one, you're supposed to protect him. Yeah, that's the job of the feds when they lock your ass up, to protect your life. That didn't happen, right? Number two, there was already experts saying this can't happen. How can you? There's not enough force. There's not enough distance. If you want to break all those bones in your neck, you have to hang high and deep. That fall has to be deep to shatter your neck. You can't do that from just tying your shit up to a little bunk bed in the prison. Force. It's called physics, y'all. It doesn't work that way. Then they had the tape missing. You seen these people, they're covering up this shit. They're covering it up. So this people, Pam Bondi, Cash Patel, they're not just covering up sex trafficking. They're not just covering up espionage. Espionage meaning some other government has that information and has been blackmailing and telling your own president what to do and what not to do the whole time while you've been watching. But also possibly murder. They may know that Trump murdered this man and now have to cover it up. See, greed and opportunism gets you this. Let me tell you something before I get this thing cracking. The art of war, there is something called jujitsu. That's part of war. That means you don't always have to face somebody head on with force to stop them. Sometimes you just step out of the way and let them use their own force and let them fall off a cliff. That's likely what you're seeing with Trump. Other people have known this and stepped out of this way to let this man hang himself because they know he's going to hang himself. I'm telling you, and there's no better hanging. There's no better one than one you do yourself voluntarily, willingly, with your own force. That's the real hanging coming. That shit that happened to Jeffrey Epstein, I doubt it. You can't convince me. Or I'll put it to you this way. I am not convinced. I'm not convinced at all. So let's get into this. What's up, everybody in the chat? Big up to y'all. And I'm not talking to people on the left. I'm not talking to people on the right. Although I vote for health care, goddamn it, myself, housing for the poor, for the middle class, the working class, goddamn. I vote for a working wage myself. That's what I vote for. But I'm also talking to the thinking people, just the thinking people, no matter what party, no matter you left, right, center, just use your brains. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking to those people. Big up to those people. Now let's go back, because so much has happened in the last couple of days, and it ain't been nothing but been oops, I did it again. Oops, I opened my mouth. Oops. Let me know if you can see this one. Oh, okay. You know what? You know what I'm gonna have to do? I see what it's telling me. They switched this program, so I have to do something real quick. I gotta take this overlay off real quick before I add a new one. So now they want everybody to update to this new. I'm using a program called Prism. In case you don't know it, it's actually a cool program. I'm going to get the paid version, but they didn't have a paid version until yesterday, so I'm going to upgrade because I like what they're doing. But let me see here. Now I got to take this overlay off before I do this. Let me see. Where is it at? Right here. Aha! 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 I could do it. I could do it. I think I can. I can do this. This one. Now let's go back to this new one I want to add. Is it up there? Here we go, y'all. There we go. Check this out.
One point after Trump had been elected, I was sitting talking to Epstein, and he said, "Wait a minute, I got to show you something." And then he went into his safe, and he came out with photographs. They were Polaroids, I think, and he kind of spread them out like playing cards, and it was.
Now, this man is telling you the motive for Epstein's death. This man recorded these interviews with Epstein when Trump first took office, the first term. He's telling you that Epstein sat down with him and told him and went to the safe, took out pictures of Trump with little girls. This man said that. He said that. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a motive to kill Jeffrey Epstein. That's what police normally look at. They would say, who had a motive to kill him? This guy just got a job and he's become an executive officer. And another man said he had pictures of him, and he's been telling other people he got pictures of him with little girls. And then the same man that said he had pictures of the little girls ends up dead. Sounds like a motive to me.
Trump. I mean, I think there were a dozen of them, and it was Trump with girls of an uncertain age at Epstein's Palm Beach house, where all of the things that he would ultimately be accused of took place. And I remember very vividly 3 of them. There are 2 in which Trump is, the girls, topless girls, are sitting on Trump's lap. And then a 3rd in which he has a stain on the front of his pants, and the girls are kind of pointing at it, sort of bent over, laughing,
covering their mouths.
Yeah, exactly, and pointing. 3 or 4 girls, and those are the ones I specifically remember. And my assumption is that they were in the safe, and I have seen them on other occasions take them out of the safe, and I think it's certainly not unlikely that they were in the safe when the FBI came in after his arrest.
Now, look, this man has made these comments public. This man has been repeating these comments publicly. This man hasn't hidden his thoughts. Don't you think it's a little odd the FBI hasn't come out and said, we don't have those pictures? I mean, it's an admission to having them. If you don't come out on record and say you don't have them, it's pretty much an admission at this point that they have those pictures. So everything is pretty much in plain sight. In plain sight. Everything else is the bullshit these goddamn congressional members, these judges, these senator people who are protecting this bullshit, it's what they want the American people to go through. See, they could solve the who did it and what's going on, the who, what, where, why, and how, if they want to. But instead, they're willing to drag the taxpayer through all of this bullshit, through this suspense, while they sit back like it's not your money paying for Cash Patel's check. Like it's not your money paying for Pam Bondi. Like it's not your money paying for the Supreme Court. Like it's not your money paying for all of this shit to be withheld. And I'm not just talking about withholding it. I'm not a person who just picks up themes and just is dumb, deaf, and blind and just picks up a theme and just keeps saying the theme. No. Yeah, I believe you got to release these damn files. Of course you got to release these files because way too much dirt is in these files, but it's not just one-dimensional dirt. It's not just about finding out what men played a part in this. Now, that's a big part, and that is an essential part. You cannot protect yourself from foreign government if you do not know who is being blackmailed by these tapes. You see what I'm saying? If you don't know who else has done this, the American people cannot protect themselves from being blackmailed. They can't. So you need to know each person that played a role in this. But you need to know also, are they being blackmailed? Where did they send the money? Where is the money going to? Who else that's not in the tapes is a part of this? You know, there's more than one crime going on here. And so that's where I come in. That's where my brain come in. I'm not on this monotheistic shit. You see what I mean? Where you just grab onto one thing and one thing is only important. It's only the one thing. Nah, there's a treasure trove of dirt up in this thing. And no doubt, knowing what's in those files, all of it is going to help jump this country back to where it should be. Resolving the problems. We don't need dead weight. Taxpayers don't need dead weight. And if those files are not going to be revealed, there's going to be a whole lot of lag. There's going to be a whole lot of dead weight coming. So in any case, this man, he has said it. He said, he put out there, the FBI, it is highly likely they have these photographs. I've been saying this for damn months. As soon as I heard this man say this months and months ago, because he said this a long time ago. He's been repeating it recently because media outlets have caught on to it, and now they're inviting him on again to say it, and he's saying the same thing. But the first time they should have caught on to it. This man's been saying it a while back. And he's telling you the components. FBI, photographs, they likely seized them. They should have them. So they would know this. They would know this about Trump. Secondly, Jeffrey Epstein, this man, anyone who could possibly have been murdered, just the possibility that his murder was a political assassination, just the possibility. Every American should want to know who, what, why, and how it was done. Everyone should know that, because you can't have people going through their doing these kind of things. Yo, you can't do that. You can't just be in a federal jail and get your ass killed politically and not get to the bottom of this shit. There can't even be a possibility that that's a political death. And you know something? They should be putting way more emphasis on this, than they are. It kind of lets you know something's not working right in the United States of America, like flat out. And I'm not saying that people don't die in other countries, but I'm saying, this is our goddamn country. We're supposed to be concerned about people dying in our goddamn country too, especially in prison, especially when they dropping secrets about who the pedophiles are, who was working, who was coming and getting the little girls from you, who you've been blackmailing, who you supposed to want to know about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my God, let me let this play out. Okay, there it is. You know what? I got to start peeping the chat. I seen a lot of y'all in the chat earlier. Yeah. And a lot of y'all are right on point. You can see that there is a cover up, and you could see the basis of it. The basis, just the fundamental basis of it. You already know something ain't right. Like there is definitely a cover up, and the cover up is not just a small little tiny thing going on. Yeah. And again, if you like me, you can't tell me Jeffrey Epstein was not put to rest by the executive branch. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you like me, you're gonna have to prove that it wasn't that, because this man died while Trump was in president. This man Epstein was arrested while Trump was in president. He was arrested after he started leaking this information to media. And this man right here, after he released it to this man, he ends up arrested and dead. Who was the president when he was leaking the information? Trump. Because he was talking about Trump's cabinet too in the first round. Who arrested him? What administration arrested him? The same administration, Trump. Whose administration did he die under? The same administration, Trump. Dead men don't talk. Dead men do not talk. So Jeffrey, but he's, but the information, the investigation seems like it's saying a whole heap and lot. So let me get to the next one. Let me see here. Where is this at?
Marks 2 years since the death of
now you got the second guy coming out. And this is what really was weird, because you could tell Epstein was very, very important. But this is where I find it very, very interesting, because not only did this man first do recordings, but someone else went to interview Epstein. And that is Steve Bannon in Paris, which is where one of Jeffrey Epstein's partners, I believe, right, that was involved with some of this island stuff, where he was arrested and died with a hanging in Paris, too. This man died. There was a man who died in Paris, one of Jeffrey Epstein's partners. Now, Jeffrey Epstein had a home in Paris, and I said this weeks ago on my live, just go back and listen to some of the lives. I said the authorities need to be talking about more of the locations. He had locations with videotapes and video cameras in Texas. He had them in Michigan. He had them in a lot of places you wouldn't think that he had them. These kind of freak-offs, these kind of recorded places. Also, but France is also one of the places, right? And that means safe. That means cameras. That means events. And one of the places he didn't own, he rented, I believe, but he had cameras set up and safes and things like that. So there's a lot more evidence that's been seized. And oddly enough, you don't hear them really talking about a lot of it. They keep alluding to the island or they keep alluding to Florida. But I'm curious about who went and visited this man in other places. And oddly enough, because you see what I mean? Like Trump, he keeps saying things like, I never went to the island. Well, you lived around him in Florida, dude. He was doing the stuff in Florida, too. You didn't have to go to the island. And a lot of people are getting away with that. As long as they keep focusing on the island, and now they're going to focus on New York, the house. Yeah, 2 seconds. Sorry about that. But in any case, Steve Bannon went out there and did these recordings.
Convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein inside a New York City jail.
We were underage. We were little girls. By the time I was 16, I brought him up to 75 girls.
But he was glib, and he lived essentially like he was Gatsby. He was an absolutely terrifying person.
Yo, Eric, yeah, I got to start following the chat. But Eric Parker, exactly. Everybody else sees it for what it is, I think there's really trolls. I think the Trump administration, they pay somehow. They either have some foreign helpers, like maybe some Russian bots like they do in these election times, or they have private firms out there looking for seemingly what they think is left-leaning media, and throwing a bunch of trolls in the chat that just play dumb all the time, to throw people off.
To encounter.
You own an island, right? Two islands, the islands of Dr. Moreau.
Correct.
Jeffrey Epstein was a billionaire New York businessman whose vast wealth but an arrogance that knew no limits. He acted as if he could have anything he craved.
Reporting the FBI is now looking into how it can interview Britain's Prince Andrew over his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
I made my living from old thinking, but the future is for the way women think.
The way women think.
That's correct.
Is that not a sop because of all the depravity you've done against young women? And your new sop is that their women's thinking is the future?
No, I've always believed that women would be, in fact, be able to take over. I'm a firm believer and supporter.
So you could see somebody went out there to do a cover up, to try to clean up this man's image. So they went out there. Now you got Jeffrey Epstein. He's the one who's protecting women's rights now. I believe the future is for the women, y'all. Jeffrey Epstein's new Steve Bannon interview after the other guy's interview that outed him on all this shit. And no, you see what I mean? Like, yo, I'm a firm believer. Sixth Sense, Amelia, Cash Patel is in New Zealand setting up they're looking for anything else but Trump, flat out. And while they're hiding all this Trump shit, obviously Trump was his best friend. So Trump is going to be in this shit. But it is very apparent they don't want to go after wire transfers publicly. And they don't want the public knowing pretty much anything. That in itself, Americans need to think. These people ran on a platform of, get rid of the swamp. And now all of a sudden, they don't want to get rid of it. They don't want the American people to know what they know. They're becoming part of the swamp themselves, you see. And they ran on a heavily politicized ideology that the liberals, the leftists, the socialist, leftist Marxists don't want you to know about the deep state. But now they're retracting all of that because they're in power and they're saying, hey, we can do things the way we want to do them. Now, we don't have to let you know what we're really seeing. We can cover it up and then we can just kind of do the same things we claim that the left were doing, right? Which is really, really weird. But yeah, that's seemingly what's going on right now. And that's what it looks like to me. I ain't going for it. I'm just like, release all the shit so everyone knows. If you run on a platform where you're talking about the left did this wrong, then hey, then put all the cards out there so we can know if the shit you was talking was true. But they don't want everyone to know if it's true. They want you now to basically trust them. And let's look at how that went with these natural disasters. How did the trust go in Texas? Y'all trusted them to protect your ass in a hurricane in Texas or flooding. How did that work? How's that worked out so far? You trusted them with the economy. How's that worked out so far? You trusted them with not being involved in foreign wars. How'd that work out so far? If you trust a pedophile, something's definitely wrong with you. And Trump, he's looking definitely like more like others, more than others, looking like a pedophile. I mean, he doesn't even want Bill Clinton's shit to be released anymore. It's like all of these people that he claimed were in this stuff, he doesn't want to show people. See, they could actually show anything they want to show, and they ain't showed shit. That's very, very revealing. That tells me that what's in these files is likely more about Trump than it is the people Trump was talking about. And another thing we know, Kamala Harris ain't in there. Biden is not in there. Obama is not in there. Because if they were, they would have released this shit already. The man is on TV talking about treason. Okay, well, get to it. Do something about it, but they're not doing anything. It's a cover up. They're not even organized. But this one, look at this. This is Trump goes to Ireland or to Scotland to actually escape the media backlash in the U.S. And what goes on? Look at this shit. Hold on. I gotta cut that down, y'all. Sorry about that, because they're gonna give me some sort of problem with the strikes here. Check this out. He have to drive by shit like this. Oh, this is JD. No, I'm sorry. Wait a second. This is JD Vance. This is JD Vance going to his own town in Ohio. Look at this. Look at this shit. JD Vance protects pedophiles. Fuck off, Vance. Bullshit. JD Vance protects pedophiles. That's what they had waiting for him on the road. And dude is driving down the road, man. His caravan's about to drive by this. I mean, these people, they are in some serious, serious trouble. I just, it's almost, it's, if it wasn't so serious, it would be funny. It's fun. I could see they don't want it to be. They ain't going to release these tapes, y'all, is what I'm saying. They're not going to release the files. The Epstein files, they're not going to be released by the Trump administration. It's just that simple. And people going to have to make their choices at the ballot box. These people do not want them released. They don't want them released. And when they don't want them released, it just ain't going to happen, you know. Let me just rock this. Now, let me see. Basically, okay, 2 overlays. Boom. Let's go. I don't expect it to be released.
Let's change the topic to the Epstein files. Sure. All of this as this fallout continues to surround the president. Now, this week we saw the Deputy Attorney General spend 2 days interviewing Ghislaine Maxwell, who's currently serving 20 years for the role that she played with conspiring with Epstein in the sex trafficking of minors. Trump refused to rule out a pardon for her. What sort of a message would that send if he did pardon Ghislaine Maxwell?
You know, he sent her a couple of messages. One was by letting the Deputy Attorney General even go down there and spend time. You would never see this. This is so outside the norms of what the department would do. The Deputy Attorney General, his job.
So look, this is what I mean by it's to me, the most plausible thing that happened is Trump killed Epstein. Very simple. Because of how Trump behaves. Trump does behave erratically. And this is just another example. Most people would not do it this way because it would obviously look like a cover-up if you do it this way, right? But that's not how a narcissist thinks. A narcissist thinks, yo, they're going to find out. I better do something. Do it. Just do it. That's what a narcissist thinks. You see what I mean? And you could have a concocted plan. Sure, your plan might work, but that plan could come back to haunt you. And a narcissist would say, do it anyway, because a narcissist lives in the moment of not wanting to be found out. They don't want to look in the mirror. And as long as there's a possibility that the mirror can be shown, that they could be shown for who they really are, they will jump to extremes. They will.
Is to oversee almost 120,000 employees. It's not to meddle in one particular case, and it's certainly not to go to a prison to interview somebody who's been convicted on sex offense.
Well, hold on, Strickland. Stop trying to give alternative things. You know, Strickland, David said, this man didn't kill himself. He's just as live as we are. Well, what if it was your brother out there, David, and your brother was saying, hey, I want to know how David died. Would you appreciate another asshole hopping out there like me saying, nah, that man's alive and well, y'all. He don't worry about him, y'all. He's alive. Come on, David. Just think about that a little bit. The man's brother. And keep in mind, if he committed suicide, if he was killed, it doesn't actually help them. Either way. You see what I mean? The guy doesn't have anything to gain. You see? He doesn't have anything to gain, really. You know, and keep in mind, his own brother and a doctor is out there already giving the evidence. So you just guessing that he's out there, that doesn't resolve the evidence that points in the other direction, David. So you need to get back to the evidence. If you don't believe it, talk about the evidence. Don't just talk about your belief. Anybody could believe something. You could believe you could believe the cow jumped over the moon. You could believe in the tooth fairy. Kids do. You could believe in Santa Claus. Yeah, but when you're dealing with the evidence,
to try to carry the water for the president. It'll be interesting to see, and I would urge people to push to see whether or not we get a full recording or audio tape, videotape of this interview. Let's see what promises were made, what statements were made, both from the time they walked into the door to the time they left. Let's see what happened on the second day. Why did they come back for a second day? So there's nothing normal about what we're seeing, and I think this idea that there may be a pardon is sort of the president again sending a message.
Now, again, I said this a week ago, y'all. I've been saying this, and a lot of people couldn't feel me. I called this. Trump is going to give this woman a pardon. Why? Because it's the only way he can guarantee the problem goes away for now. And that's how a narcissist thinks. They think about the mirror being revealed right now. They can't stand it. And the only thing that would change this is if he was already in jail. Then maybe a narcissist, after some years, after a little bit of time, might begin to deal with that mirror. But you ain't going to get it out of Trump. You're going to get shut things down immediately from Trump. That's the direction that narcissists go when they have power. I mean, I'm talking about a sociopathic narcissist, you know.
He's the deputy attorney general was really like his carrier pigeon, and now he just decided to do it on the airways in response to a question. That the clear answer should have been no. There will be no pardon. But for him to somehow suggest that he hasn't thought about it, that's just nonsensical.
Right. Trump tells everyone he's never thought about it. Oh, Tony cries, I'm not a genius. This doesn't take a genius to see. This just takes a person who's not jaded by politics to see. See, again, I vote for practical things. Healthcare, affordable housing, a decent paying job, wage, right? Access to education for the average person, right? I vote for those things, right? That's not a partisan. Those things shouldn't be partisan issues. Those things shouldn't even be liberal issues. Those should be centrist issues. You see, especially when Americans' payroll taxes pay for 75% of the federal budget. That's people that go to work every day, a 9 to 5. That's not people that own a company. Those are people that work for somebody else. So again, I'm not really partisan. I'm more of a centrist, but it doesn't erase the fact that Trump says things and there's a pattern. This man says, when you ask him about a pardon, he says, well, I haven't thought about it, but I could do it. He's always saying he's never thought about it. Okay, you never thought about it. Jan 6, he never thought about it. He hasn't thought about it yet. He's going to flip the script. What's the guy, the general that was given a pardon by Trump for basically the dude committed espionage. Trump gives him a pardon. I forget his name. Trump gives a whole lot of political pardons, not pardons to people he doesn't know, not pardons to people that didn't do something for him specifically. All Trump's pardons go to people that did something for him, pretty much. I mean,
and to try to get information from Maxwell about what somebody else may be doing. I mean, that's like going to get information from the big drug dealer to ask him about who might be smoking weeds. I mean, this is sort of just to the point of being absurd. And the question will be whether or not it supports his political base, if it gives him any cover at all.
And speaking of that, it seems that the topic of the Epstein files is one thing that will not go away, no matter what side of the political aisle you're on. In fact, there's a recent Reuters Ipsos poll that 69% of Americans, including 62% of Republicans, his base, believe the government is hiding Epstein's alleged client list. How big of a problem is this for the Trump administration, this topic of the Epstein files that will not go away?
It's a big deal both politically, but really from a legal standpoint, it's a big deal. It's a big deal because his own attorney general has said that his name is in the file. and that's a big deal. And he's denied that, but she has now apparently said he's in the file. We don't know in what way. We're not suggesting in some way that he's in there as a client or otherwise, but we know he's in the file, and we know for some.
Right, but to a person that knows they're in those files, and a person that is a narcissist, just the suggestion that you're in the file is enough to have a narcissist hit the roof. You see what I mean? Because Trump is thinking like a guilty person. You see, a guilty person would be like, oh, damn, they on to me. What am I going to do? Nah, he's going to make up a lie. No, she didn't tell me that. when obviously the woman did definitely tell him your names are in the files. It's ridiculous. I mean, this is evidence of a crime. This is evidence of guilt. That's what you're seeing. And if you were in the same situation that Trump was in, the goddamn police and the goddamn feds and the CIA would definitely see you this way. And if you were involved in national secrets, in espionage, and betraying your country, do you know what the CIA might do to your ass when you come out with a stupid ass lie like that? No, she never told me. They would be like, you better hope they don't have your ass in a foreign country too when you tell them that, because they will start breaking out some things to remind you of who you're talking to. That's how they would treat the average person. When you start doing these kind of lies, like,
there's this hesitation.
Ain't nobody going to believe these lies.
Insistence to push this away. He didn't want to get into it, despite the promises he had made to reveal everybody that had been involved in the case. And so, typically, when somebody's trying to cover something up or hide something, that means that there's something to hide. We don't know what it is yet, but it's there. So that could be a problem for him legally. I just don't think that he's got his base has the political will to necessarily give him a pass on this. He's made a complete buffoonery of this process, both from what he said.
What say you, Barbie? Did you hear that part? Do you think his base has the political will to just let him off, Bobby? In the chat, what do you think? I think Barbie has the political will to let him off. She must be MAGA.
And how he's handled it and trying to push it away. The simple thing to do would just be to come in and get somebody that both sides can agree on, get a Democrat and a Republican to come in the room and say, okay, y'all go through the file, present everything you want to present, here's everything you can have. But to do these sort of secret meetings with the officials from the Justice Department to come in now and say, well, there's nothing there, even though they walked them out on the sidewalk, a big notebook showing that this was Epstein Volume 1. That's if you believe that.
I think it was notable too that the Manosphere, like podcasters, comedians on the, ultimate right, they were questioning.
We'll get to Johnson in just a moment. The Department of Justice says they will not.
Look, this, going back to these podcasters, Joe Rogan and these folks, I have respect for the fact that they have big platforms. But of course, Joe Rogan is going to have a big platform. He's been on some of the biggest seen television shows in the U.S. He was on this, what is this thing where people sit around and eat bugs and all of this shit and, have worms on their faces. He was on that show. A lot of people watch that. Then he was with the UFC. A lot of people like fighting, But so, of course, he's going to have a big platform. So I respect the fact that he has a big platform. But listen. Okay, my stream, I got stopped somehow. I don't know what that was about, but I'm back now. Let me know if the audio was good, and then I can get back on this. What I was saying is that Joe Rogan, it's no diss to him, but Joe Rogan is not the smartest cookie. He's not the smartest cookie, and no matter how big your platform is, respect to that. Because in the world of platforms and how you make money and the fact that people worship money often, sadly enough, money is not going to get you out of this cookie. Brains will, and using your brains and your critical thinking skills. Joe Rogan is just an average dude. He's just an average dude, an average thinker who got lucky with a huge ass platform. And you can't really go wrong like that. It's like being a billionaire. You have to be really, 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 like, you have to work hard at messing up $1 billion. That's not easy to do. It's not easy to go broke with $1 billion. Like, you have to defy physics. You know, you have to defy math itself to mess up $1 billion. And that's kind of like what Joe Rogan is. Like, you got to really, really work hard at screwing up that kind of platform. But it doesn't mean that he's been on the edge of correctness. Like Joe Rogan, he hasn't been correct about this. He promoted Trump. He promoted this idiot in the first place. Why is it that he couldn't see all the red flags, Joe Rogan? Why couldn't he see the red flags? I mean, that's the thing. Like, you know, it's actually mediocre. Joe Rogan could not see the red flags. And it is what it is. He now helped to elect this person. And we're not talking about red flags, like a little bit of red flags only concerning about one issue. No, you may as well have elected and promoted Satan. If you believe in this concept, you may as well have elected a person that hates all human beings on earth, period, no matter who you are, and little girls, just for their own sake of having some money. That's what Joe Rogan promoted. And there's a lot of people that could see Trump from a distance, his behavior, they could analyze it. Joe Rogan is not one of those people, you know, so people should keep that in mind when you're following podcasters. And, you know, when you are joining and following the crowd, keep in mind all these folks. Hold on, let me see something. All these folks are not necessarily that sharp, and following a crowd could really get you hurt. You know, sadly, it can. But let me see here.
In order to protect what they say is more than 1,000 victims, many of whom were underage. I want to read you a little bit of a DOJ memo.
What's up, Dale?
Which writes, quote, sensitive information relating to these victims is intertwined throughout the materials. One of our highest priorities is combating child exploitation and bringing justice to victims. Perpetuating unfounded theories about Epstein serves neither one of those ends. What is your...
Look, and that is the argument that they will use. It's gaslighting. They let Epstein off in Florida. That's where Pam Bondi comes from. And she was supporting Acosta. She said Acosta did the right thing. They could have stopped him back then. They could have stopped the United States from having dumbass people becoming the president and being blackmailed by foreign agents. They could have stopped it back then. They could have stopped little girls from being harassed by this network, from being assaulted by this network back then. Her specific department that she comes out of did not do that. They gave the man a pass and let the game continue. The game of espionage, the game of assaulting and trafficking and enslaving little girls, the game of blackmail, the game of probably there could be more people's deaths involved. It may not even just be Epstein. You see what I'm saying? Like, you don't know. That's a lot of years to allow these kind of people to do what it do. That's a whole lot of years. You may as well have let a plague out on the United States of America. I mean, a foreign intelligence operation couldn't have done better, is what I'm saying. You know, let me read Rodney's comment here. Let me see here. There are videos plenty. Mustache Man is a fair comparison. He even referred to his term as a 4-year plan and let his lesser members do the majority of the work and take majority of the blunt. I mean, and these people, it shows you what a person would do just for a regular goddamn check. I mean, these people will follow anything. They have no integrity. These are desperate people. Like, they literally will take this job to hide and cover up all of this shit Just for what? A regular pension job, a regular pension, a regular, health care. Like, they get good health care. Don't get me wrong. They get a guarantee. But you see what I mean? It's not. Obviously, there's some caveats on the side. These are not your regular folks, all of them. They all are getting benefits. They all have interests that are troubling on the side that involve money. There's bound to be a lot of under the table money going on, which is why they keep trying to support this man instead of throw him under the brush instead of throwing him under the bus. It's a reason why they're willing to, even at this late stage, continue to cover up. It's basically because there's something else going on, whether it's money, whether it's deeper. It could be deeper, because if you're part, and I'm sure all of these people don't know everything that's going on, but I'm sure in time they figured out some things, because some strange things have happened in Trump's administration. If any of them know about espionage and they haven't reported it, that's their ass. And it's starting to look like some of them know a little more about that than others. So, and when you're being exploited like that by a foreign government, it's not always easy to see who knows what and how much of what, because there's numerous ways of manipulating people. People take to the carrot in different ways. For some people, they take to a cash payout. Other people, they take to a job, getting a job here and there, or getting a family member, some help here and there, something, and you have a lot of unexplained things going on. Like Kash Patel himself, he's a first generation immigrant. That means his family is in another part of the world. His family. That means his cousins, his aunties, his uncles, and you don't know how many people family members they have. You see what I mean? Like, and there's more of them. Like, there's a lot of different elements to this that I'm not dissing people for first generation immigrants. I don't have any rational reason for caring about that, whether somebody's first generation or not. It's them who brought all these questions up about who's really American and who's not. But when you look at them, a lot of these people, according to their own description, aren't even really passing the test themselves. I mean, Trump is claiming to make America great, and he came here when his grandparents first got here. What do they know about the Civil War? What do they know about the War of Independence? What do they know about any of that shit? Nothing. Zero. They have no connection to it. Let me just bring this up to remind people something. I don't want to get too far off the topic, but there is something I'm going to follow up on and point out, which a lot of people haven't, really pointed out before, but it should be pointed out. It should be pointed out. Look at this. Can y'all see this? Can y'all see this? Hold on. Take this one off. Can y'all see this right here? Now, I'm not always into these racialized conversations, but again, the Trump administration is the one who brought these things up about who's American. And we need to be very clear about this. White Americans, the people that identify, I'm not calling anybody white. I'm saying people that identify themselves as being white Americans. 25 to 35% of them have family, have ancestors that go back to the Civil War, likely. With African Americans, that same percentage is 85 to 90%. So when a person like myself, right, is looking at who's American and who's not, when you're talking about these MAGA people, most of these MAGA people don't have anything to do with the Civil War. Their ancestors did not fight in no Civil War or War of Independence. So there's some differences there. And people need to keep that in mind when they talk about this. So it's not me talking about who's American. I don't think it matters. I grew up, my best friend, his own family were first generation, second generation Americans. from Germany. I don't give a damn about that. He grew up in the same city I grew up in. He's born in the same city I'm born in. He grew up on the same streets. We went to the same schools. We have the same friends. That shit shouldn't matter. But it's Trump that weaponized these ideas. You know, he's weaponized these ideas. So, again, we're going to bring it back. Let me get back to the regular program here. Here's more. Here's more. And it is loony. But let's hear some more.
Sisters-in-Law podcast, Kimberly Atkins Storr, and Semaphore White House correspondent Shelby Talcott. Glad to have you all here. Shelby.
Somebody said mine did. Did yours? Both sides of my family go back to, before the country even existed. Yes. The War of Independence and the Civil War. Yes. That's why I'm saying it. And I've said it before. You don't listen to my podcast, Win Weller, enough to know, but I've been saying this the whole time. But then again, I'm not the one politicizing it. I'm not weaponizing it against other people. You see, it's not me weaponizing that. It's them. It's the Trump administration weaponizing who America is. If you had it my way, if I thought about it, I don't know why the hell there seems to be such of a difference between who U.S. Americans are and Canadians and Mexicans and South Americans and Central Americans. What the hell? We all have the same history. Native Americans all across North and South and Central America. People of African descent bought as slaves in South America, Central America, and North America. And Europeans brought there, came there. Not brought, came. So I don't know why we're so different outside of our language. We're not different. A lot of us are directly goddamn blood relatives. But again, it's the Trump administration weaponizing this. It's not me. You see, so let's just keep it real.
The president hasn't shut down the idea of pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell. Why not? What is Trump's inner circle telling him?
You know, it's really interesting because I've talked.
Look, this dude, who is this saying this? Windwheeler. Countries have borders, bro. That's what makes it. Yo, all the European nations have borders too. Okay, they work together because for their survival, asshole. Like, what the hell? Who is more culturally closer to an American than a Canadian, than a Mexican, than a South American, than a Central American? Who's more closely related in religion, in history, in blood, in culture? It's us. Americans are more closely related to any. A lot of the European Americans don't have anything culturally, don't have a damn thing to do with Europe today. You can see that by JD Vance. JD Vance comes over here and lectures them and they look at him like, huh? What the hell are you talking about? Like, dude, you're crazy. I think some Americans need to take a deep look. Culturally, Americans have more in common with each other than anyone else. And I'm not talking about one type of American. I'm talking about Americans. What other group you talking about? That we have more in common with each other. Why this administration can't see that is really a poor history lesson. It's a poor history lesson. Again, we shouldn't. I'm not saying exclude other people. I'm just saying we're excluding the people that have the same history as us, that share our own history. What the hell sense could that make?
To a lot of administration officials and a lot of people close to the president, sort of in this MAGA universe, I haven't heard anybody suggest to me that it would be a good idea to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell, even setting aside sort of what she has been convicted of, just politically for the president. Nobody has sort of laid that out, that they think that it would be beneficial to the president. They actually think the exact opposite, that it would complicate things. It's not something that the majority of the base seems to want. And so I thought it was really interesting, his response there, because when I talk to people inside and around the White House, the general consensus is this should not happen.
Well, I mean, it seems what Shelby Maxwell may know and what could be in the Epstein files, that is giving the Trump team a real headache. Because we've been talking about this for weeks now, with no apparent end in sight. Is the information in those files and in Maxwell's memory more damaging to the administration than all the fallout we're seeing now?
I think it's an open question. And I've talked to a lot of people who argue, this is one of the most investigated, looked into situations in decades. And so there's a lot of skepticism that there's going to be some sort of bombshell that comes out of this that we don't already know. And then the other question, of course, is this Ghislaine Maxwell interview, is the release of testimony, is that going to satisfy the base who for years now have...
You know, I mean, this Ghislaine Maxwell thing, it's like, come on, again, if this was you, this wouldn't be happening. If you were charged with these crimes, they wouldn't be dealing with your ass like this at all. You know, this woman is a sociopathic narcissist. Okay, like straight up. This lady has locked people up and deprived them of their freedom. It could be thousands. You don't know how many yet. You see what I mean? This lady has no heart. Just like other women that involve themselves in trafficking rings. Okay? Like straight up, they do not care about your civil or human rights. They will lock you in a dungeon if necessary. They take your passports. That happens everywhere. They take your passports when they're trafficking people. What are you talking about? This is the same people Trump claimed to be trying to keep out of the country. He's trying to stop human trafficking. What do you think those traffickers do? They take your passports. They threaten you. They do things. They extort. They threaten, keep secrets, threaten to put out tapes, sex tapes when they have you to your family, all kinds of stuff to keep your mouth shut. Trump is thinking about pardoning her. And these are the same people he's claiming to be wanting to keep out of the country. What connection does Ghislaine Maxwell have to goddamn United States of America? Like, what is she? What is she? Why is she so special to who we are to give her ass a pardon? This doesn't make any damn sense. It goes totally against what they claim every other day of the week. You see, what they politicized, now all of a sudden when it comes to her, they back it up. They do a role reversal. No. Same rules don't apply to her. She's different. Why the hell is she different? You know, that's basically bigotry and racism. Like, you can't see this is exactly who you claim that you're trying to chase down and stop from getting in the country. And again, people need to start thinking about how many of these folks have dual passports. Does Kash Patel have another passport? I'm not saying he does, but I know one thing for sure. I know these rules. He can go to where his parents are from at the worst and claim citizenship and get a passport. And I believe that's from India or Kenya. He can claim that if he needs to, suddenly. I'm just telling people, you know, look into these laws and look into how they have been applied in your lifetime and tell me it's not true. You see, so Trump has a lot of shady people that really, I don't know why they keep getting the benefit of the doubt. They're getting the benefit of the doubt that no average American would ever in their lifetime ever hope to ever get, you know. And there's nothing wrong with being a dual citizen, but in cases about loyalty, there is a problem. And any government would take that problem up and bring it to you and say, hey, in issues where loyalty might apply, where the question of loyalty, yeah, they go to people all the time and question them. In fact, it's not abnormal for the FBI to do it. You know, they do that also. You see what I mean? When you have a top security clearance, you damn right they're going to question you about your loyalties, man. Sal, wake up. And why wouldn't they? I'm not saying there's something wrong with that, with being a dual citizenship, a citizen, or them questioning you. And I'm not saying Kash Patel is a dual citizen. But what I'm saying is that in a case where he commit a crime, were he to commit a crime, he could easily go to the country where his grandparents are from and request it. Why? Because he does not have deep roots in the United States of America. That's just the fact. Period. He does not have deep roots in the United States of America. That's what I'm saying. That's just a fact. You see what I mean? And yo, I don't know who the hell would ever question, that fact. at all, and there's people that have deep roots in the United States of America, and there's people that have deep roots in America, and then there's people that don't. You see what I mean? Now, I'm not suggesting that means you don't have it, that you have some issues of loyalty, because most dual citizens would never ever be in a place where they would be around some top secret shit in the first place. That's but if they were, they would be questioned about their loyalty, no doubt, and that would be vigorously looked into. And what's ironic is that Trump, he be giving a pass to people all the damn time. I mean, he's got people that are dual citizens in his cabinet. He's got people that are he got trouble. He has trouble around him. But in any case, I'm going to be back later on today. I just wanted to illustrate this one point. And I'm going to repeat it because it is easy to there's a lot going on with Trump's case. So there's a lot to talk about. But I want to contextualize some of the things, some of these clips, because I've been taking clips, but I couldn't go live the last couple of days because of my time schedule. But I want everybody to ask themselves this. Is media, and including independent media, including vlogs, including YouTube, not just corporate media, but are media asking the right questions? Should they be asking now the question of, did Trump have Epstein murked? Should media be asking that question right about now? How many of you think that that's what every vlogger should be asking right now? If that's what Joe Rogan should be contemplating and asking, did Trump actually murk this dude? Because Trump is crazy. He's crazy enough too. That's all I'm saying. Because a couple years ago, Joe Rogan wasn't asking the right questions. He wasn't asking no questions about, he was actually thinking Hillary Clinton was drinking baby blood on Epstein Island. I mean, that's what Joe Rogan was thinking about. He wasn't thinking about Trump. He was giving Trump the benefit of the damn doubt the entire way. If you ask Joe Rogan, would Trump give Ghislaine Maxwell a pardon a year ago, he would have said, hell no, hell no. Well, today, that's not what Trump is saying. Trump isn't saying hell no. Now, what is it that this lady could offer Trump? What could she offer Trump that's not already in the Epstein files? What could she offer? She did not testify at her own trial. That is number one, covering up things. And number two, letting the other people who are involved know that you're not talking about them. That's what that does. When you don't testify in your own trial, she didn't testify, so she didn't even have to take the Fifth Amendment. And now people are offering her up as possible a legitimate means of finding out what is going on instead of just releasing the files. That this is obviously a cover up. So, I think folks need to, if I was a vlogger and I was a vlogger making a whole lot of money, and if I was a vlogger getting a whole lot of hits, which I'm not really, you know what I'm saying? Although I appreciate the folks that do come through. It's a significant amount. But I'm just saying, I'm not the biggest vlogger, and I do this in my spare time. I'm not moneyed up. If I had a little bit of money, I would be running over a lot of these people straight up, because my daddy didn't raise no damn fools. And I am a proud American. I'm from Washington, D.C. My family do have deep roots in America. OK, and I'm proud of my country, even though we don't make the right decisions all the time. But I live in Europe. I live in Denmark, and I'm also proud of where I live in Denmark. And I really do learn from living in Denmark. And I hope a lot of other Americans learn a little something, too, about other countries, especially in the EU. Learn some things, especially in the Scandinavia, but especially Denmark. Learn some things. It's some things we can learn from them. And I'll be damned, there's some things they do better. Healthcare is one of them. Education is one of them. Unions, a fair living wage is one of them. So we have a lot to learn. And And it's not the Danes covering up the Epstein files. You know what I'm saying? It's our own damn government, you know. So I'm going to be back on that note, and it's going to be today. But I just want to prepare some stuff for now. Let me before I play a lot of these clips. But there is one clip I have to play, which is hilarious. It's hilarious. Oh, it's been so many damn clips. I'm just really wondering, is it this one? Is it this one?
I'm Caroline Levitt.
Look at this shit.
Yep, that's her. Levitt pretends she's a conservative, but really she's just a woke Gen Zer. Worships Fauci's mask mandates. Records everything. Listen up, hoe bag. Wants to bring her generation's new vision to Congress. You know, mooching off her parents. Running up huge credit card debt. Woke, immature, and irresponsible. Caroline Levitt for Congress? No, not a chance.
This is hilarious. This is hilarious. Look, you know, Americans, Vinwelder, I hope I said your name right. You know, Americans, after you pay your taxes and after you pay your essentials, meaning your housing, your rent, whatever you got to pay to keep a roof over your head, keep clothes on your back, decent, okay clothes, to pay for your food every month, your electricity, your gas bill, all of those things, the essentials, and your education, whatever that is. After Americans pay all of those things, right? After Europeans pay all of those things, Europeans take home a significantly larger amount of their paycheck month to month than Americans do. So Americans need to think about that. You need to think about that. Why is it that Europeans seem to have health care, education already factored in, housing, all this stuff, all the essentials, and then after they pay for all those essentials, they're bringing home more of their monthly paycheck from work than Americans are? Why is that? And I think we know why that is. It's because greedy, corrupt bastards hide in America, you know, and they've been getting the lion's share of the tax dollars. The Americans pay for the rich, essentially. It's not the other way around. And corporate media needs to do better by American citizens. But American citizens need to do better by themselves either, because we're supposed to be smart enough to dissect these inconsistencies ourselves. That is, if we care about each other. A lot of us go down these divisive lines of thinking instead of saying, hey, the basic essentials everyone should have a right to, because we're the richest country on earth. Everyone should. It's nothing wrong with wanting to go to school. There's nothing wrong with wanting to feed your family. There's nothing wrong with wanting to have a roof over your shoulder. There's nothing wrong with those things, you know. And in the United States, we kind of make it seem like those are privileges when, I think we got a values issue. But having said that, let's watch this one more time. I'm out of here. It's too much. I had to laugh at this.
Yep, that's her. Levitt pretends she's a conservative, but really she's just a woke Gen Zer. Worships Fauci's mask mandates. Records everything. Listen up, hoe bag. Wants to bring her generation's new vision to Congress. You know, mooching off her parents. Running up huge credit card debt. Woke, immature, and irresponsible. Caroline Levitt for Congress? No, not a chance.
And she is a Gen Zer. I mean, she's a MAGA Gen Zer, you know. She's pretending like she's a conservative. Man, this girl lived off her damn parents. And then because she was kissing Trump's ass, she got a job. That's simple. No, there's no work. There's no struggle in that background. I mean, I'm not saying that people that grow up with families that make a good amount of money don't have struggle. I'm not saying that. But I'm talking about there's no class struggle here. There's none of the extra things that people that deal with class struggle have to deal with. There's no situation where all of a sudden you wanted to go to school and you didn't have enough money. There's no situation where all of a sudden, hey, you wanted to, have a vacation and you didn't have enough money. There's no situation where it was like you couldn't eat at whatever place you wanted to eat at because you didn't have enough money, or you couldn't get the clothes you needed to get because you didn't have enough money. You see, and I would think that Americans that do have those struggles would start electing more people that have and understand those struggles. I would think that would be a wise thing to do, and stop letting these people play us on this division and stuff, over regular stuff. It's not a crime to want a roof over your head. It's not a crime to want live a decent wage, a check for a good day's work. It's not a crime to think that you should be able to have affordable health care. It's not a crime to be able to go to goddamn school when you want to go. Just when you want to go in the richest country in the world. That shouldn't be a crime. But, we can see to a lot of people, we've been duped into thinking that, somehow that's like expecting way too much, And I'm here to tell you, as an American citizen living outside of the United States of America, everyone doesn't think that's way too much. In fact, some people think that's just regular, So on that note, I'll be back with y'all. Peace.
They want war. Crime babies looking for food. Starvation, the recipe. People subdued. When the people you trust got it in for you. Deceit is the word of the day and every clue. Don't let it go. It's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets with the people in the slums and the homeless bums with degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man, the one that brought you to reality. See, they don't want you to know about the black sheep, leaving 7 roads to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say a death old? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct, and I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink, but I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on the call and up and we on the break. All Congress gonna do is waste paper and ink. Vote or die. You voted and you'll die. You can have it both ways, can't say it's a lie. You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand war, it's the same old song. They want war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. War. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. Like the lotus coming out of the mud with colors, I create envy in those with power but jealous. I unify the poor with my song, the hell with the others. Descended the way they treat indigenous brothers, cause I understand we link forever. They try to hate us even though that we keep it together. I'm not talking about controlling the air or the weather. I'm talking about maintaining the truth, the high endeavor. A rebel drops bombs in the midst of trouble. The free world counterattack and now there's double. But nature gets the shit in the way to settle. If you stop the machines for a minute you might hear, but they won't cause the TVs whisper in the ear. And capitalism has eyes that don't tear, and they cloud up and get crazy and won't steer. And like an ad, it's hard to get an ass to listen. Living like this is like living in prison. It's hard to keep hope when you're living in prison. The spiritual thoughts, so yes, the mental prison. The outside, yes, it's got to get through. Something's gotta die, so something here can live. Your life is nothing if you got nothing to give. Keeping the spiritual, yes, disguised as religion. Controlling your mind, the mental prison. They want war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. War. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic.